Welcome to Novel TV with the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact, another beautiful device by Sony with a lot of features, not only hardware-wise, which we showed you in the review, but also we have some tips and tricks for you guys, which are some features that you maybe wouldn't use in your everyday use. Like, for example, you can tidy up a little bit your notification bar in terms of notifications and the regular icons that you can see right there. And also there's a few features like, for example, how to wake it up with double tap that are disabled factory-wise when the device is shipped, which is a little bit sad because it's really easy to enable. But let's start first, for example, of course, with how to use your home screen quite wisely. Like, for example, I only have two screens right now, but if I want more, of course, you just have to have here press the plus button on the one side or the other side to add more. And you can also set up here on top to make this one the home screen or that one the home screen, and then that's even easier to set up, or that's very easy to set up here. If you don't want to hold long to get into this menu here on the home screen, you can also just do this little gesture and then you get the same result. Of course, you have wallpapers, themes and everything here. Now a new thing with themes is that you can actually download themes from the App Store if that opens you up. As you can see here on top, featured themes, where you can just say, okay, you want, for example, the Xperia green experience, go into the App Store and then you can download it. Usually it costs a little bit of money because some developers are making these, but usually they look quite nice and you can use them on your tablet or your smartphone. Then you have customized icons and everything right in there. That's why it costs a little bit of money. Otherwise, of course, not too much interesting things happening here on the home screen. Everything looks the same as usual with the Sony Xperia Bravia engine. But what's of course interesting is how to clean up your notifications or quick settings. Quick settings, you probably already know that. You can easily set it up here to have your flashlight right there, to have the throw feature, for example, here, or you can of course also remove a few things like stamina and bring it down here, and then you can of course order around here the things. That's really not that much of a new tip, but what's actually quite new is what I said, how to tidy up, for example, your notification bar. The only thing you have to do is go to personalization, and then here you can see it, status bar icons. And you can say you, for example, don't want to see the battery, you don't want to see the silent mode or the Wi-Fi. These are all the options that you have, nothing else more. Like, for example, NFC is staying there. I find this a little bit sad because I just leave NFC on usually all the time. But let's just enable all the other things again. Also, like, for example, I really like having my time and my battery status there, but you can, for example, remove the percentage right here or the stamina plus mode, because usually you have stamina enabled anyway, because it doesn't hurt. Otherwise, here with manage notifications, you can say, for example, there is Instagram that is giving me way too many notifications. You can disable that one, or you can also disable the system UI things, like, for example, that you just shot a screenshot, and so on and so on. Here are the most recent ones that you got, but you have also the possibility to just disable anything for anything, like, for example, with any game, with the camera, or even with some system things that maybe haven't happened yet but will happen, and you know that you don't want to see a notification about that. So this about notification. One more thing here, of course, is the clear view notification is, for example, here, if you enable that and you swipe this down, you can see here there's three things happening right here, but when I go back up here, it's all gone. So once you viewed them, they're all gone in the notification bar, but they're still here when you will swipe it down. So they're not deleted unless you delete them manually, but they won't be visible anymore up there once you viewed them once. Only when new things come in, there will be one new icon, which is also again quite handy. Now let's just stay here in the settings. There's quite a few things to show you guys. For example, I'm sorry about that, I didn't want to open up Google right now. So if you go here, for example, into home, and you think that your home experience is here way too cluttered, too many animations, you don't want all of these widgets and stuff like that, the only thing you have to do is select simple home, say next and okay, and then you can see that everything is quite tidied up here on your screen. That's perfect for grandparents or for older people to really easily access maybe 3 persons that they want to call all the time, or otherwise if you go into the phone feature, it will look about the same, but the text will be bigger and it's easier to read. Otherwise, you have, of course, here 3 folders which you can use. For example, your media, your tools, which are pre-set, but you have also here your own folder where you can just say edit and add, for example, games and anything that you want to use every day. And you have a whole list that is actually endlessly long, and you can use as many apps as you want there. Now, to go out of this menu, you only have to go here to settings and go all the way down to exit simple home, and then you will be out again. Now, the one thing I have to do now is it enabled that the text will be big, so I have to go to accessibility and disable large text to make it look normal again here on your regular menu. So what else? You were able to see that the phone feature has some extra button here, and you can actually enable the answering machine, which means that you can enable your own greeting and messages on your phone itself. If you don't like the method of your carrier, or it's picking up too early the answering machine on your carrier, you can set up here actually how many seconds it should have after the voice messages recorded. As you can see here, how many seconds and so on is right now disabled, but if I enable the feature, that will work. So again, quite a nice feature. And if you go out of here again and you have previously seen here me use the last apps button, you can of course still easily close here the apps, or just hold it long, check out the app info, or remove the list from the list this way, close all. Or what's actually even more handy, I think, is the small apps. Now, the small apps are quite cool because you have the option to just rearrange these. Say you want to delete something, like I added the stamina mode before, and that was my own addition, which you can do, of course. Or you can completely uninstall the small apps, but why should you do that? Because, for example, something like the calculator is quite handy when you are in the browser, for example, to just use it, or for example in your emails. But what's also quite handy is, let me close that up, for example, is the active clip, so you can do screenshots, which is actually also, of course, still possible with power and volume down button. I will show you in a second. But as I said, you can also add your own widgets, or maybe even download something from the Play Store from a huge list of already available small apps, because this is, of course, not the first Sony device that has this feature. So we don't even have to close all these. And let's go to the next quite cool thing, back here to the settings. And yeah, let's just continue here with call settings, for example, where you were able to see before that we have here the answering machine thing, and of course all kinds of other features, like for example the equalizer. And you can use, of course, SIP also, so you can call over the internet, which is maybe even a little bit cheaper. What's more interesting maybe is the display feature, that you have glove mode is still quite awesome. You should not use this if it's raining, because then the raindrops will even better mess up your screen. Of course, it's waterproof, so it won't nothing will happen inside, but it will be quite sensitive also to wet fingers, or just, as I said, rain. You have the X reality, which you should have turned on. It's quite good to have nicer images and a more vibrant picture. Now, what I recommend to have on is smart backlight control. That means that if you have set your sleep to 15 seconds and you are looking at the screen for more than 15 seconds, reading an article, the screen will not turn off because it sees that it's bright outside, you're looking at the screen, and you actually still use the device. So that's a smart thing to do, to just turn this on. Also, what you should do, you saw me before using it, a tap to wake up feature, which means that you can just double tap the screen again, unlock, and you are right there where you left off. And also you can set up here the notification light if you want to use it or not. The notification light is right up here next to the sensors for light. So one more thing, of course, that you should do, or actually there's a few more things if you just go here through the whole device. In power management, of course, stamina mode, you were able to see it before. For example, right now we have 12 days because the stamina mode is on. You have the ultra stamina mode where I could get even 2 more days. But of course, you can also set up here your location-based Wi-Fi, and in low battery mode, which apps or which devices or features should be turned off in low battery mode. And you can also say which percentage of your battery means low battery: 30%, 10%, 5%. Right now it's set to 20, so you can say at 20% the screen brightness should be at 20%. Even if the sun is shining outside, you want to have a longer lasting battery. You can also check the power consumption of the apps, which is almost none right now for me, but the screen is using most of my battery right now, as you can see here, which is again not that new of a feature, but stamina mode is quite nice. And if you go a little bit more further down here in security, you have still the possibility to, of course, use more than just swipe to unlock. But what you should definitely enable is My Xperia, which means that you can use the location-based services inside to find your smartphone again if you register it online with the website myxperia.sonymobile.com, which you can read right there. There's, of course, a few other things that you can set here up. Just read through that. Not that interesting for us right now. What's interesting for me usually is I have multiple keyboard languages which I can set up right here. And then you can use them also with gesture input, with swipe, and it will know which language you're using right now, which is again quite handy if you're, for example, writing a text or just in a browser to just write something like hello or how are you, which is of course Z right now because I use the Z down there, but you can just do this and then it works quite great. Higher is of course not right, and you can just delete that and re-enable the things that you want to write. So let's go back into the settings, which is, again, this is not a new feature, but you should definitely set it up because it's faster to write, I think, with that. And here on accessibility, there's also a few quite nice features, like, for example, that you can use the power button to end calls. I love that because you can just easily press the button. You don't have to hit the screen after you want to hang up. And you can, of course, also here actually activate, which I love. Let me see if I find it. The accessibility shortcut, which means that no, not that one. Touch and hold delay. I only know it in German. Let me give me a second. Magnification gestures, exactly. So I have it on right now, which means that if you triple press here, for example, the screen, you have here the possibility to just magnify here everything and look at it a little bit more closer. Also touch it with one finger, or with two fingers you can move around here, or with one finger you can just go here to the next side and then move down here. Also, once you triple hit the screen again, it turns off, or if you triple hit the screen and then leave your finger there, you can just move here around with one finger also, but once you let go, it goes back to the regular view. Now I want to show you a few more features here inside the telephone, where, for example, you can easily enable the service menu by just hitting here this, and then we type service, which is 7378423. And then you also have to just press here this, and this again. And then we are in the service menu, and you can check out your service settings or test your device. So you can see if the LED illumination is still working. You can see it now here blinking up on top. You can also go back. You can really check everything from the GPS, compass, accelerometer, storage. Everything here is right there for service. But you can actually also do some of these things if you go into the settings, all the way down to about phone, diagnostics, and then test device. And then you have here the camera, flash, charging, vibration, volume controls, loudspeaker, and so on that you can test. Now it's also quite interesting, as I said, you can shoot a screenshot by pressing down and the power button, but if you just press the power button for a long time, there's also take screenshot right here, and you can record the screen, which is also, again, quite handy if you are a gamer, for example, if you ask me. Other cool feature here in the phone is if you want to call somebody without them knowing what your number is, you just type this, and then the number you want to call, like, for example, of course, here in Germany it's 17, and then the number you just want to call. Oops, I'm sorry about that. Let's just go back. Oops. Again, so if you just want to call somebody anonymously, you just have to press these buttons and then the number you want to call, and then it will be anonymous. Yeah, and that's actually already it here from the tips and tricks video of the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact. I hope you found a few features that you will like or that you will use in your everyday user scenario. And one more thing I want to show you before we end here everything in personalization, there is something called Motion, where you can actually use smart call handling, which means it will automatically answer your call once you pick it up to your ear. So that's also quite cool, and maybe you should enable it. Thank you much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Endeavor TV. This was the Sony Xperia Z3 Compact tips and tricks video, and till next time, please tune in again.